In the early days of the AI boom, NVIDIA was positioned as the undisputed engine of the revolution. The consensus: relentless software demand guaranteed infinite scaling. To understand what actually happened to that narrative, we have to rewind to October 20, 2021. Both NVIDIA and the South Korean memory manufacturer SK Hynix were standing right on the edge of a severe macroeconomic crash. This chart establishes the starting line. On that exact date, NVIDIA was trading at $22.03, adjusted for stock splits, sitting at an absolute peak valuation multiple. SK Hynix was priced at roughly 92,800 won, hitting the top of a standard memory cycle. Despite operating on completely different economic models, both stocks were about to plummet. This set off a 5-year race that defied all public expectations. This chart tracks their returns over the following 5 years. By August 2026, NVIDIA grew an impressive 852%, but SK Hynix soared to over 1,700%. That means the company building memory chips generated an 865% performance advantage, known as alpha, over the software giant. These returns signal a friction between two specific types of assets: the software platform and the hardware bottleneck. In an industry obsessed with boundless software scaling, the physical constraints of hardware actually captured twice the market value. This diagram breaks down their differences. On the left, NVIDIA's CUDA software creates predictable revenue, which was fully priced in by 2021. On the right, SK Hynix manufactures HBM chips. Building these hits physical constraints. In 2021, the market saw this as volatile and underpriced its necessity. We see this dynamic clearly in Phase 1. This bar chart shows the resulting 2022 market crash. NVIDIA suffered a steep 34% drop from its peak. Hynix dropped too, but only by 21%. Hynix weathered the crash because its inherent vulnerabilities were already priced into a cyclical bottom. NVIDIA, trading at extreme multiples, had much further to fall. Phase 2 kicks off between 2023 and 2024 with the launch of ChatGPT. This allowed NVIDIA to establish total ecosystem dominance, as its hardware became the absolute baseline requirement. Looking at the top panel of this chart for Phase 2, NVIDIA rockets up by a multiple of 9.2. Hynix grows a modest 2.4 times. At this stage, investors still viewed Hynix strictly as a generic supplier. Phase 3 marks when compute demand hit a physical ceiling: data transfer speeds. The bottom panel shows the market realizing high-bandwidth memory was this ultimate choke point. In just 20 months, SK Hynix spiked 4.0 times in value, while NVIDIA cooled to 1.4 times. Investors recognized that software ecosystems cannot scale without physical hardware. The highest market premium shifted toward the asset in shortest supply. By this point, the question of whether Hynix could catch NVIDIA was irrelevant. The memory supplier had structurally locked in its outperformance. Projecting to 2032 requires the law of large numbers, highlighting the mathematical ceiling on NVIDIA's growth. To repeat its 9.5 times multiplier requires a $50 trillion market cap. Hynix faces its own gravity. Repeating its 18 times run demands an equally extreme 24,000 trillion won valuation. Both companies are now constrained by their massive scale. You cannot forecast their next 5 years by applying their historical multipliers. We have to evaluate them under completely new terms. This creates intense asymmetry. SK Hynix offers higher potential upside, but that upside is paired with deep structural fragility and high downside volatility. This alpha switchboard shows 5 conditions SK Hynix must maintain for a 15% growth rate: high bandwidth memory dominance, commercialize co-packaged optics, expand the Miyagi facility, contain Chinese competitors, and navigate geopolitics. If just 2 switches flip off, Hynix reverts to a cyclical memory maker with 5% growth. NVIDIA possesses an ironclad software ecosystem. While their hypergrowth phase is slowing down, that moat provides structural stability against those exact same supply chain shocks. Market value no longer flows toward the promise of infinite code. It is increasingly captured by the physical constraints that gatekeep its existence.